Everybody, and welcome back to another Spigot Minecraft plugin tutorial. Today we're going to be taking a look at events or listeners. So if you don't know, an event is essentially anything that happens on the server. This could be as simple as getting into a boat, to joining the server, to sending a chat message, to breaking a block. Like literally anything you could think of that happens on a Minecraft server, there's an event for it. There's a crazy amount. But today we're going to be looking at how to listen for those events, and then if that event were to happen, how we can modify its behavior, and then also just do extra things that we want to do. Now, you might think that I'm on the side of like a mountain. It's like a normal mountain. Actually, this is, I was literally just flying around and I found this and I thought this was like really cool. Like look at this. This is just a giant island, like above cloud level. This is sick. I thought about making an intro in here, but this is just, sorry, a little side note that I thought was just really cool. Anyways, hope you guys stick around to the end of the video and let's go ahead and jump on into it. So I like to start off my tutorials with showing the JavaDocs for whatever we're talking about today. However, I personally don't feel like the JavaDocs are too great at explaining listeners like how they were for commands. But if you want to come here, the two things that we'll be looking at is one, a listener, which is what we're going to be implementing. If you see you click on it, it has no information for it because it's just a public interface that has nothing requiring you to implement. And then it's part of the package of org.bucket.event, which if you click on this, you actually see a list of all the events you could listen to. So this is, I would say, the only useful part from the JavaDocs relating to events, because if you're like, man, what is the event for listening when a player does what? Respawns. Here's the player respawn event. So if you're like thinking, like trying to find a specific event, go here and this will be pretty helpful, or you can just search it up and try to find it. This package of org.bucket.event is really nice to be able to find all these events and implement them however you want. So you see they have them sectioned off relating to blocks, enchantments, entities, hanging, entities that hang. I actually don't know what this is, to be honest. Anyways, I don't really know what that's about. Inventory, player, raid, server, you can see all of them here. And you see, like, if I go to player, there's a lot for a player because a lot of things that a player can do. Probably going to be a lot for block and world. There's a lot of different things you can do. Anyways, these are all the events, and you can see what you can actually do to all of these events. You can cancel them, you can get the actual event, you can get the result of the event, there's exceptions, listeners, all that. This cancelable one we'll be talking about today. This is kind of useful. And then the other thing is the actual event handler, which is an annotation that we'll be adding over top our method to make it into event handler for that listener. So you'll just be adding this event handler annotation. See, it's an annotation interface. Like I said, I don't think the JavaDocs is that useful in my opinion. It's a little hard to understand. So I did find this tutorial on Spigot MC called Using the Event API, and this will basically be a text-based version of what I'm going to show you here today. So if you rather just go through the text, I'll leave this down below and you guys can go through this. It talks about making your first listener, registering them, and all that, which I'll be showing you today. But in my opinion, if you want to learn more about the event API, I think tutorials like this are probably a lot more useful than reading through the JavaDocs. That's just my personal opinion for this topic in particular. However, let's go ahead and implement our first event listener. So we went ahead and opened up our tutorial plugin from last episode with our heal command. Don't worry about that, we're not going to be using any of this. So if you want to start with a brand new plugin, you can as well. I'm just going to kind of be building off what I did in the last episode, so it's all in one place. All right, so for a listener, I do like to create its own package, just like I did for commands in the last episode. So we're going to go here to our main package folder right here. We're going to right click on it, press new, Java class. And like I was saying in the last video, if you don't want to create it through this way, what you can do is you can go to package and make a new package called listeners, or alternatively you can just go new Java class listeners dot, and then whatever your listener is right here. It'll both same outcome. Preference. Anyways, once you have your package, you can go ahead and press new Java class and make your new listener. So today we're going to go ahead and start with just a listener when a player joins the server, and then we'll also add a listener for when a player breaks a block. So we'll do two in today's episode, just so we can show two different kind of features. So first, let's just do the simple player join listener. This is the capitalization convention that I like to do. Go ahead and hit enter, and then it is an interface that we're going to be implementing. So we're going to write implements listener from org.bucket.event, not WebSocket. That one I import a lot when I'm making listeners. I'm going to hit enter, and then you'll see there's no red lines because this interface actually doesn't require to implement anything, but we are going to, so it actually can do something. So we're going to go ahead and type at event handler, which is the annotation I was talking about, hit enter, and then now you're going to see it'll be underlined because it needs a method. That's how annotations work. They need a method to be written below it. So if you don't know about annotations, I recommend learning about them from Java. So the way you can think about annotations is basically like extra information packaged onto the method that is below it, so the compiler knows like more information. More or less, very simple definition of it. But we're gonna go ahead and write our method below. So we're gonna say public void on player join. Let me go ahead and make this bigger real quick. So public void on player join, and then right here in the parameters, you need to pass what event you're gonna be listening to. So we're gonna be listening for the player join event, and then the name. This is obviously the type of the event, or like the class for it, and then the actual name of the parameter. Stop doing that. Import it, and then the name of the parameter is going to be event. Some people also just do E. It doesn't really matter. And so this is the actual part that matters, because this is what you're listening for. So these are all the list of the events that I was talking about on the Java docs, and this is what you would place right here, so that like if you saw one on the package of org.bucket.event that said player dot break block event, or I don't actually know what it is, probably block break event. Yeah, block break event, that's what you'd write here, and that would listen for when a block is broken. But for now, we're just going to do the player join event. So when a player joins the server, so all we're going to do for now is just send them a message, and then also just give them an item when they join, just so we can make sure it's working. Obviously, you can implement this however you want. This is used a lot for if you want to add like a welcome message to them, like this player joined the server, welcome them back. For now, we're just going to send them a message and give them an item. So in order to get the actual player, let's just make a new player variable. So player, let's import player is equal to event.getPlayer. And then we can say player dot send message. We're going to say hello there, and then we're just going to put their name. So we're going to say player dot get display name, and then we're going to add more saying welcome to the server. Okay, and then let's give them an item too. So we're going to say first, let's actually create the item. So we haven't talked about items yet, but we're just going to do this very simply. We're going to say item stack creates a new item stack. Item is equal to new item stack, and what you pass into an item stack is, it's going to tell me, come on, there we go, a material and an amount. So we're just going to say material dot, let's give them a diamond every time they joined. It's probably not that practical, but whatever. And then we're just going to say player dot get inventory dot add item. So this is just going to add one diamond to their inventory. Like I said, we haven't talked about item stacks yet, but I feel like this is pretty easy to understand. We're just creating a new item for a diamond that has one single amount. Obviously, if you want to give them 64, you can. Wouldn't recommend that. Let's just give them one for now. Then we get their inventory and we add the item to their inventory. Perfect. So like I said in the last episode, this is just a class that lives inside of our plugin. It's not registered yet, so we need to go ahead and register it in our main class. For us, it's tutorial.java, but we go to our onEnable, and then we're going to type something to actually register this to our plugin. So we're going to say get server. This just gets the server. And we say get plugin manager, and then we're going to say dot register event, and then we're going to say we're going to create a new object of our listener, just like we did with the command. We're going to say new player join listener, and then you can see register event takes in two parameters. Yeah, so it takes the actual event they're listening for and then the plugin, and this needs to be register events, sorry. So dot register events, not event, the listener first and then the plugin. So when we pass in the plugin, obviously we can just write this because we are inside of the actual plugin itself, because tutorial class, the one that we're inside of, extends Java plugin. So in itself, it is actually a plugin. So we can just pass in this and it'll do that. And boom. So now our event's actually registered and we can listen to it. If you ever are like, hey, why is I made my listener, but why is it not working? Most likely you forgot this line. It's very, very common to register your events or commands, whatever you're working with. But yeah, that's pretty much it for a listener. They're fairly simple. Just remember the syntax and remember to register it, and you should all be good. So let's go ahead and test this out. Once again, let's go ahead and just clean just to be sure that remove all of our target files, and then we can install to get our jar, and then let's move our jar to our server. So let's go ahead and shut down our server first, close this out, go to plugins, drag our plugin, going to replace it, go back to server and run it. So we're gonna go ahead and watch the console for any errors. If there are any errors, we should see right away. Should we didn't do anything wrong? And I don't see anything. I think we're good. We should see that tutorial has been enabled, no issues. Run PL, no issues. So let's go ahead and hop into the game and see what's up. So joining in our world, when we join, as you can see, hello there, Sanamo MC, welcome to the server. You can see we also have a message, Sanamo MC joined the game, and that's because that's the default join message. We can disable that because this is an actual event. We can just set that to be canceled, but for now we're not gonna worry about that. But this is our message that we sent, so every time we join, we're gonna get that. You can also see we were added a diamond. So you can see if we leave and join back, we'll get another diamond. So now we have 2. And obviously this is not very practical for a server because you can just get infinite diamonds just by rejoining. But our code does actually work. You can see our message is sent every single time. Perfect. All right, now let's look into the field of actually being able to cancel event or modify it. So now we're gonna look at the block break event. So when I break a block, what I want to do is cancel the event and then put a message in chat saying, hey, you can't break blocks here. And then finally we'll modify that for when I break a grass block, it's going to change into a diamond block. So we'll see how we can do that. I think that'll be a little fun to do. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So going back to IntelliJ, let's go ahead and make another class inside of our listeners package. Hit new Java class. We're going to go block break listener, implement listener, not the WebSocket listener, but the org bucket listener, at event handler, public void on block break event. Make sure you import it. Let's import it. Come on. There we go. And now, so when we break a block, what we want to do, actually first, before we implement it, let's go and just register it so we don't forget. Say get server dot get plugin manager dot register events new block break listener and plug in this. So perfect. All right, now we can do it. So when we break a block, let's go ahead and just do the first iteration of what I said. So we're going to say anytime a block is broken, no matter what, for now, we're just going to say event dot set canceled to be true. So what this does, and this set canceled, I believe can be done on any event. I guess you can't cancel like someone joining or leaving the server because that just would not be true. That's a client side thing, you know. However, almost any event that happens in the world, you can cancel it by just doing event.set canceled. I don't know exactly which ones you can and can't, but just kind of assume most of them you can, just by running event.set cancel true. So when I break a block, it actually won't let me. So it'll like break it for half a second on the client end, and the server will say, hey, you can't break that. So it'll never break on the server side, and then it'll send back to the client saying this block was never broken. So it essentially looks like it gets placed back. Depending on how fast your latency is, it might lag for a little bit, but yeah, it'll cancel it. It will not break. All right, and then now we're just going to simply send them a message. And first we have to get the player. So we're going to say players, you go to event.getPlayer, and then we're going to say player.send message. And we're going to quickly introduce chat colors or chat formatting. We're going to have a whole video on this, but if you want to change the color of your chat, I'll go ahead and say how now. You can just run chat color dot, and then you see a bunch of different colors. So you can do dot red, dot dark red, whatever you want, and then just add whatever message you want. So put this before the message, add it before, and then it'll be red. So we're going to say, hey, you cannot break blocks here. I think this is the same message that WorldGuard uses. I think it's just red and then, hey, you cannot break blocks here, or something similar, or you're not allowed to do that here, something like that. But yeah, so this should all be good. We're going to cancel the event, get the player, and then send them a message, hey, you can't break blocks here. Let's go and test it out. All right, I went ahead and uploaded the plugin, server's back up, and let's go and test it. So now, as you can see, we still get our message, we get our extra diamond. If I go to break a block, as you can see, you see what I'm talking about, how the block breaks, and it kind of, like, you get the breaking animation, but it never actually breaks. Like if I stand on top of it, I don't fall down at all. It's staying there. And then obviously I get spammed with, hey, you cannot break blocks here. And that is any block you break, no matter what, because I don't have any checking on it. It just, any block that I try to break, it just doesn't let me at all. So essentially put myself into adventure mode. But yeah, now let's add one last functionality, kind of just for fun, and that'll be anytime I break a grass block, so just the grass block, not the dirt, not the stone, what we're going to do is change it into a diamond block. And then any other block that I break, we're just not going to let them break it. So let's go ahead and see how we're going to do that. So going back to our on block break event, the way that we're going to do that is first we're going to have to get the block and check what block we're actually breaking. So let's go ahead and just get rid of this for now. We'll be moving this, and let's get rid of this for now. So we just have the player, and let's get the block as well. So we're gonna say block is equal to event.getBlock, and we're gonna say if block.get, not material, .get type, which as you can see returns a material. If I hover over it, it returns, where is it? Sorry, public abstract or .material. That's what it returns. If block.get type dot equals material dot, and I want to check for grass block. So this is a boolean. We're checking if the block that we have, if the type of it, which is the material, dot equals material dot grass block. So if it does equal that, what we're going to do is we're going to get that block. We're going to say block, because we already have it. We're going to say set type material dot diamond block. Perfect. And let's go ahead and just send a message to confirm that. I'm going to say player dot send message, and we'll put this in a light blue. It might just be blue. I think it's blue. Saying changed grass block to diamond block. Perfect. So let's go and read back through this. So let's go and just move this down here. Actually, what we're doing is we're saying if the block broken is grass, change it to diamond block. So we're saying if block.getType, which is the material, dot equals material.grassBlock. So if we're breaking a grass block, we're going to take the block and we're going to set the type to material.diamondBlock. And then we're just going to send the message saying change grass block to diamond block. Perfect. Now, what if we don't break a grass block? Right now, if we leave it like this will only work on grass blocks. But like I said, I wanted to make it where I can't break any other blocks. So we're gonna add an else statement to this. And then inside of this else block, we're going to cancel the event and send that same message. So we're just gonna say if block is not a grass block, just cancel it. Perfect. And this should be good. Let's go ahead and test it out. All right, server's loaded back up. Let's connect again. And now got our diamond, we got our message. If we break any block, say, hey, you cannot break blocks here. But if we break a grass block, we have a little bit of an issue. So it does give us our message. However, it didn't actually change the block. And I think I know why. Let me go back. All right, so apologies about that. I kind of had the set canceled in the wrong location. Originally, I had it down here, which would mean that if it's a grass block, we wouldn't cancel the event. And what that would do is essentially try to set the type of a block that doesn't exist anymore, because the event wasn't being canceled. Like for example, this is how I had it before down here. And so if the block was a grass block, then it wasn't being canceled, which means the block would break. And then I tried to actually set the type of a block that is essentially null and set it to diamond block. So that would just break the block. It wouldn't set to diamond because the block has been broken by now. So you need to make sure that for this specific example, sorry, rookie mistake, make sure you cancel it regardless. So what this will do is when you break a block, it'll cancel it, so the block doesn't get broken. And then all we're just going to do is just change that block to diamond block and then change it. So it doesn't let us break a block at all. But if I were to try to break a grass block, then it just changes it to diamond block. So now we can go ahead and test this out and see if this works. All right, I went and uploaded it. Now we can test it. As you can see, we get our message, we get another diamond. And if we try to break any block, it doesn't let it break its block. But if we try to break grass block, you can see it changes it to a diamond block. So yeah, there you go. We can now listen for events. We can listen for when we join the server, when we break a block, we can cancel the event, and we can actually modify what it does. So you can see we can't break the diamond block because that's not a grass block. But if we break a grass block, it just changes into a diamond block. So yeah, pretty cool, pretty neat. There's a lot of stuff you can do with events. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Sorry about the little mistake that I made. Rookie mistake there. See, everyone makes mistakes. But if you guys have any questions, make sure you leave it down below. If you like the video, make sure you like it and subscribe to keep seeing more videos. I'm gonna try to pump out more of these. It seems like you guys are really enjoying them so far. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, leave them down below, and I will see you guys next time. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and peace out.